And when the bell rings, the man in charge of the action, working in a world championship bout for the 98th time, referee Richard Steele. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the site where legends are made, Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, Nevada, let's get ready to rumble! 12 rounds of boxing for the IBF Super Middleweight Championship of the World. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the black trunks with gold trim and weighing in at an even 167 pounds. Fighting out of Ann Arbor, Michigan, he brings a professional record, undefeated 33-0, 2 draws, 22 by KO. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the challenger, the IBF Middleweight Champion of the World, James Lights Out Toney. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the black trunks with red trim and weighing an even 168 pounds. His professional record, 30 victories, 18 KOs, 7 defeats. Ladies and gentlemen, from the streets of the South Bronx in New York City, presenting the 3-time world champion and current IBF Super Middleweight Champion of the World, Iran, the Blade, Barkley.
Listen to the crowd, man.
Okay, I spoke to both of your fighters in the dressing room. I'm cautioning you now, obey my commands at all times. Shake hands and good luck.
Jim, I see this fight as an athlete, Toney, who was a high school quarterback, against a warrior, Barkley, in what may just turn out to be a Warriors game. We'll see whether Toney can maintain his poise in the face of what is expected to be a fierce pass rush.
I think the most important man tonight is Richard Steele. They couldn't have picked a stronger referee.
You like Richard Steele?
For this fight, take somebody strong and willing.
Barkley comes out with an apparent urge to overwhelm Toney from the beginning, and Toney catches him inside with counter lefts and rights. Barkley trying to go to the body, Toney coming right up the middle, and James Toney is giving better than he's getting.
Toney is getting in good uppercuts right now, left uppercuts. But he shouldn't throw too many of them the first round.
Well, already you've seen Toney's superior technicianship. Iran came in winging wide, as he loves to do, and Toney stepped right up the middle to take advantage.
Toney should keep this as skillful as he can. Barkley is not a skillful fighter, he's a puncher. Why wait in and play that game?
Yeah, but now we're into stage 2. Toney, who's often accused of not fighting the full minutes, or the full 3 minutes of every round, begins to stand against the ropes and relax and allow Barkley to wail away at it.
And Barkley has been caught with some effective shots that in the body that could have some telling points as the fight goes along.
Barkley will keep going to the body. He's not the kind of guy who forgets to do it. Toney scores with an uppercut inside. But the longer James stands still on the ropes, the more he plays Barkley's game.
I think if he stands on the rope and not try to push this guy, he can be a lot more effective than trying to push him out. Just hit him because he's not quick, he's only powerful. Good body punch, a good left hook to the side, and Barkley is starting to show a little blood.
That's right, there's blood under Iran's left eye. Barkley has a history as a bleeder, and right now, Toney is whacking away with tremendous effect in the middle of the ring. And Toney just walks away and rests for a second, and Iran Barkley comes storming back at it.
He walked away because he said earlier, you're going to see some blood quick. He has seen blood, now he's happy.
Couldn't ask for a more entertaining first 2 minutes of the fight. It was everything the experts expected it to be.
For the first time in Toney's career, about fighting only a few minutes every round should be right to win. This time he shouldn't exalt himself.
Toney looks very relaxed and very confident early on in his first bout against a really high-skilled, accomplished 168-pound fighter. There's a good right uppercut inside that brings the crowd alive.
Barkley has been hit before by some of the best punchers in the world. He's gotten up, so you don't get carried away. Once you hit him, you just keep it set up in that fashion.
Barkley's the only man on the planet who has beaten Tommy Hearns twice. Nobody else can claim that.
Barkley is going to the wrong corner.
All right, he's a sucker for the uppercuts. Them uppercuts that you're hitting him with, keep hitting him with him, and come back with that left hook.
What you mean? All we gotta do is pump the jab. I want the overhand, the head crack. You see you hit it with the head crack?
Right.
Okay, that's all you gotta do. He's standing right up. That's all. He's standing right up, that's all. Over with the head crack, and we got it. But when you go to the outside, you gotta pump that stiff jab, like I showed you. All right, that's all. That's all you gotta do.
Good bucket right over here.
That's all you gotta do, baby. Just keep that jab pumping out. When he stands up, pump.
Look, first off.
There we go, baby. Pump the jab, that's all I need, all right? Let's go. Let's go to work.
What Toney must do in this fight is early on to put a lot of hurt on Barkley, because if Barkley is still there in the second half of the fight, he's going to come on with his strength.
He said earlier he was going to hit this guy in the side, and Barkley is starting to land punches around the side. But it seemed that Toney's left jab is the best thing he's got tonight.
Well, you already saw the punch stat numbers that indicated a great first round for James Toney. And beyond those numbers, he doubled Barkley in power shots, 33-17.
I think Toney is going to have to settle in and realize I can outbox this guy. It's real easy. Jab him and stop worrying about taking him out. If he makes that decision, it can be an easy fight for him. But if he doesn't, he's going to get rocked and rolled tonight.
And incidentally, the blood was from Barkley's nose, not from above his eye.
And I don't think Toney liked that. Got a little overconfident because he thought the blood was coming up.
Good chopping left hand inside by Toney. He has great counterpunching ability, and against a guy like Barkley, that will afford him a lot of opportunities. Oh, right hand on the shoulder of Toney seemed to stun him for a second. Both fighters landing to the body.
Come on, work it, get out, work it.
It's going to take 2 or 3 rounds before Toney realized I'd better respect this big man's power.
Barkley just missing with the right cross. It skimmed across the side of Toney's head.
When you're 160 pounds, those right hands that you turn don't hurt that much. When you're up at 68, those right hands numb your legs.
Good uppercut inside by Toney. You heard Bill Miller, Toney's trainer, telling him that Barkley was a sucker for an uppercut, and Toney lands another one in there.
Punch it, get out.
But those uppercuts got to be followed by something around the side, some body punches, chest and to the side, because this guy is regularly about 200 pounds. He's accustomed to taking big shots like that.
Punch it, get out.
Some bigger guys.
Step back.
Toney landing with the jab. Barkley just steps past it to come inside. Toney's quicker hands still a factor, particularly every time they step away from the ropes and into the middle of the ring. Barkley landing a left hook to the top of Toney's head.
Toney is really getting good with his left jab at this point. He's standing right on the ball of his feet, jabbing and not jumping backwards. When you see a fighter do that, that means he's confident.
Right.
Toney fighting a masterful fight at close quarters, keeping his poise, picking his shots.
Hey, baby, you're doing what you want to do. You continue to do this here. If we can do this for about 5 or 6 rounds, we can bust this guy up. All right? How you feel, baby?
I feel like a fucking chin.
All right.
Got the leg.
You gotta hit him in the muscle. That's what we gotta have.
Right.
Hit him in the muscle. Your left hand is down already.
Right.
You hit him in the muscle. Your left hand is down already. All right. So let's keep on doing the same thing. Keep doing the same thing, champ. That's all.
Okay.
That's all. But I need more of that jab.
There's a Barkley punch, but it did not land flush. James Toney is very, very difficult to hit on the head. People have said he has a small head, and he rolls his shoulders away from punches very cleverly, George.
Move the hand. Move your head. All right? Move your head. That's sticking there.
That was an odd punch we saw in the replay. At best, it appeared to hit Toney on the shoulder, but it also appeared to stun him for a second. And Barkley, George, is a guy who wants to hit you anywhere he can make contact.
Right. Now, Toney has sold all the whoop tickets about how he's going to knock him out. Now he should be contented with just winning every round. Let the knockout come by itself. Don't try to create it. Barkley should try and make this fight as wild as he can and stop standing back with his left jab. Just get in there and wade in there.
It was the left shoulder where Toney was hit, but he's using the left hand liberally. So it does not appear that there was any injury which should affect him in the bout. Toney again scoring a right uppercut inside. Barkley continues to bang away to the liver and kidneys, trying to slow Toney down to create some opportunities later on in the fight.
I think Barkley coming in with his mean demeanor and how tough he is. Now he should settle down, but he's going to think the crowd is going to say, you can't do it, you're scared. So he puts himself in a corner that he shouldn't be in at this point. With his longer reach, he should have been ahead on points.
Another uppercut lands inside. Most effective punch of the bout for Toney by a wide margin. Toney walking away. Barkley steps in and whacks with the left hook.
No holding.
And we've got a fairly steady flow of blood now coming out of both of Iran Barkley's nostrils.
Come on, let's work.
Toney is not content because he wanted him to be busted in the eyes at this point. Good right hand by Barkley.
Good left hook inside by Toney. Right hand by Toney. Right hand by Barkley. They are trading shots.
Those exchanges do not help Toney.
There's a solid right cross by Toney, but it didn't seem to stun Iran Barkley. And one thing we know about Barkley, he can take a punch.
Very smart. Toney landed his shots and moved out of the way.
And the mouthpiece is knocked completely out of Barkley's mouth by the fabulous right cross from Toney. And here comes Iran stepping in without his mouthpiece, showing his courage and his resiliency.
Toney is starting to get real accurate. He's throwing that right hand right down like threading the needle.
Go to corner. Go. Stay.
And now Richard Steele will give Barkley a chance to replace the mouthpiece.
Let's go. Let's go.
Iran Barkley does take a punch, as you say, Jim, but it's not a virtue to take this many hard, clean punches.
And you know something? Iran Barkley's eyesight is real bad at this point. He doesn't even know where Toney is unless he's bumping bodies with him.
And let's remember, he once had a detached retina in his left eye.
He's had 2 detached retina surgeries in the left eye. There's a solid left hook by Toney. Barkley comes back with a left to the body.
If
More Barkley stuff to the body. I'm sorry, George.
If Toney would only back away, he can see that this guy can't see him.
You know, Larry, you talk about the vision thing, and Barkley went to the wrong corner at the end of round 1. They're both trimmed in black and red all the way down.
All right? Okay, hands up.
Okay, let's take a look at that clean right hand, and there you saw the mouthpiece flying outside of the ring. Once more, with feeling. Measuring his opponent. Very cool inside. Very impressive, Toney. He is fighting up and surpassing the level of his opponent so far.
You know, you only got a minute to rest. Why would they stuff his nose with all that stuff? Can he take a second win? Can he rest himself? No. That's not a smart idea.
Well, they must be worried about the blood flow. Maybe that nose is broken, George, and that's why it's bleeding so profusely.
You work with Q-tips, even a bigger Q-tips, but you don't stick that much stuff up when the guy's supposed to be resting in the corner.
Good point. Another right cross after a right uppercut. Toney with target practice now inside against Barkley's head. Look at the fast hands. This is brilliant stuff from James Toney.
If Toney would step around to the other side of the ring, he can see the vision problem that Barkley is having and wouldn't let him get close, because he's got to get close to feel where he is. He's punching by feel now. He just doesn't see what he's doing. A low blow, Toney.
Well, this has been Iran's method for years. Lean in, shoulder the opponent, get your body on him, and then pound away at close quarters.
And he's thrown a lot of punches to Toney's hip below the belt in that fashion. This is not what Toney needs to be taking at this point.
Chopping right hand by Barkley missed. Toney spins away and shows off his hand speed and combinations again. James Toney piling up points early against Iran Barkley.
Barkley has been in this amount of trouble before, so you just can't just get overconfident with him. He can still land that telling blow, have you on the floor.
Yeah, when he knocked out Tommy Hearns several years back, it was a fight in which he had been thoroughly dominated all along and was bleeding badly. But he can launch one.
Now Toney is starting to land shots to the side now. It's going to help this young fighter as the fight goes on.
Taking a page out of Barkley's book, saying to himself, well, if we're going to stand here shoulder to shoulder, I may as well do the same thing Iran does and whack away at the liver.
Barkley is starting to push him into the corners now.
No low blow warnings from Richard Steele. Barkley has begun to land several to the hip area of James Toney.
That's right.
Chopping rights inside by Toney. 3 of them landed. And Richard Steele wants Barkley to come to his corner so that his glove can be retaped.
This helps Toney because he's taking a well-earned breather here. He should be sucking in as much oxygen as he can right now, not just stand there.
But Toney has shown so far that his claim that he could be more active at 168 than he was at 160 is true.
Toney's connecting nearly half of his punches in this round, 18 of 43 so far. Barkley didn't get a chance to dab at the blood streaming from his nose while he got that glove rewrapped. Toney with the jab. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 of them. Barkley jabs back. Toney knocks the mouthpiece out again, this time with a short left hook.
Go in the corner, go in the corner.
You can train him and draw him in. The lazy left hand he's got.
Harold Letterman, how do you score the bout so far?
Jim, 4 rounds to none, 40-36, James Toney. I think he's just winning this fight on clean punching. You know, we score on clean punching, effective aggressiveness, ring generalship, and defense. James Toney is winning this basically on the clean punching.
Pick it up now. He's getting tired.
Any arguments, ladies and gentlemen?
If he's losing it, because he's being hit with the punches below the belt and on the hip, that may have some effect if the fight goes to the 10th and 11th round.
Now you're going to see the 3 right hands that Toney landed toward the end of the round. 1, 2, 3. And Barkley went out of that round laughing. Whew.
Well, that's Iran. He loves to rumble. At the time at which, or at the age, I should say, at which Toney was playing high school football, Iran was in a life and death street gang in the Bronx named the Black Spades.
Pull it back.
And the thing about being a fighter, you got no gang. You got to do it all by yourself.
Toney with another splendid right in there.
Toney is real effective when Barkley throws that hook. He's get underneath it. Takes a lot of, and it discourages a fighter when you go underneath his left hook.
Barkley chases Toney to land one relatively light left hook. And starts punching away to the hip joint again.
Get out of there.
that can really hurt a young fighter because he'll let you hit him not knowing what you're doing to him.
Right, step back, step back. Come on, let's go.
Well, elaborate on that, George, because to the average guy, it might not look as though those punches mean anything.
Yeah, you go to your corner and you can barely sit down on your stool because your hip is sore and you don't know what's going on.
Come on, let's work.
Because you're not hurt on top, you're not suspicious. This is a job for a referee now.
Probably too many referees let guys get away with those punches to the
Richard
hip.
Steele is looking up high and he hasn't glanced down yet.
He's looking for
He said
headbutts.
once, keep him up. He's only said it once.
Yeah, but he's watching for headbutts, which is another frequent occurrence in Barkley's fights because of his style.
He's admonished once to keep him up, but that's not enough. He should pull this guy off and say, we're not going to have it.
Double right inside by Toney. Bang, bang. Saw the blood fly from Barkley's head.
The thing about Toney, he weighed in at 168, but by dinner time that day, he was back up to 173, you can believe it. You don't want a guy that big leaning on you.
Let's work.
Well, I'm sure both of them weighed 168 by the time they came in here tonight.
No, I mean,
Yeah, I know you
Barkley
mean
was
Iran.
up. Iran Barkley must have went back up to 173 or 175 because you can't have that big man leaning on you. The same left hook that dropped Tommy Hearns, Barkley is starting to find range for.
Your hands are free. Work. There you go.
Now, you're telling me, George, that despite the punch-by-punch domination
on,
we've
your hands
seen
free, let's
early
work.
from James
Watch
Toney,
your head.
Barkley is getting enough here and there to maybe set something up for later on.
That's right. Those body punches is helping him. He's not skillful. He's not known to win fights on points anyway. So why not just keep hitting on the punch, catch this guy leaning, and grab him.
Toney walks away after once again landing a flurry inside. Blood streaming
Watch
from
your
Barkley's nose, and Iran, the warrior, continues to chase James to the ropes.
It's the old saying, you don't pull a switchblade on an elephant. And sometimes those good shots may look like they hurt, but this big guy's not hurt.
Well, this is a primitive game, and Barkley is a primitive fighter. But the man with the skill is dominating him now.
All we got to do is keep doing what we're doing.
Double hook out. That's the punch that's gonna get us out. The double left hook. All right? He's okay. That's good. He's okay. He's all right. I need double left hook. I need the double left hook. Okay. I need the double left hook. I need to roll double left hook. Even if you hit him with the muscle. Right. That's all. And when he starts rolling like that, turn it, go underneath. Right. You got to bend your legs and go underneath. That's all. It's coming. It's coming. He's getting tired, champ. You got to roll and go underneath. That's all you got to do, champ. That's all. Need a drink? Yeah. Okay, here we go.
Suck it up, bro.
Come on, baby. Suck it up. Show him what you made out of. Show him what you made out of, baby. Show him what you made out of.
Seconds out.
I got it, baby. Don't worry about it. We got it. Show him.
George Foreman, when we saw Barkley spit blood there, you got the impression that he's probably swallowing a good deal of it during the rounds. How much will that bother him?
I do believe, but this guy's accustomed to being in this kind of trouble. He probably gets it in the gym, so he's not out of tune with it. He doesn't mind right now.
Does he notice it?
Oh, he doesn't even care. His corner told him when Toney rolled to go underneath. He keeps going on top.
Toney with magnificent hand speed. You won't often see that kind of flurry at 168 pounds. Although now, of course, Michael Nunn has a 168-pound championship.
Come on, let's work.
Yes, but, you know, somebody with Barkley's mentality thinks, I've been hit all those punches, now I got him where I want him.
Yep.
That's just the way a fighter like Barkley thinks.
He freely acknowledged yesterday that he would never expect to win a fight like this on points. He's here to try to score a knockout. So losing rounds doesn't much bother Iran Barkley.
And as far as I'm concerned, this guy, Toney, should sit around and coast for a round now, regroup, suck up his energy, and go for the 7th, go for the 8th, 9th, and 10th, 11th, and 12th.
Well, at what point, if you're in Toney's corner, do you tell your man to try to stay away from some of these inside confrontations and get a little bit farther away?
I think that Toney is real skillful. He knows the coast. I don't think his corner is even aware of the need to coach with such a big guy like this. The corner's never had him in with a guy this big in a fight this stature. But you got to coach that sometimes. You're not going to get a knockout like that. Win the fight.
Barkley sticking to his game plan with dogged determination. Keeps his head on Toney's shoulder, leans his body in on him.
Watch your shoulder.
And George, you've referred several times as Toney lands 2 more uppercuts in there and stuns Barkley. Stuns Barkley with a minute to go in round 6.
But this is not the kind of fight he wanted the 6th round. This is the round he should have been coasting. Not to his advantage to mix it up with him now.
And Barkley coming back, and I was about to say, you've referred several times to Iran leaning on James. It's going to help to tire Toney out, right?
That's right. Barkley has got to be weighing somewhere near 175 pounds. That big head on your chest like that, don't push him. It's going to wear you out.
And as he leans on James, he's pushing his legs down on the canvas all the time.
So he's following somebody's plan.
There's a left hook that landed for Barkley. Larry?
Well, I think punches wear you out also, George. And most of the good ones are being landed by Toney.
They just don't wear the big guys out like they do the smaller guys. Because sometimes you're hitting them good, and they just accustomed to being hit harder.
Toney finished the round with a left to the neck and 2 solid rights to Barkley's chin. And Barkley looks a little weary midway through this World Championship bout.
You don't like that? You got to keep doubling the hook out, man. You got to keep doubling the hook. Make them fight, baby. Hands up and make them fight. All right, baby. That's all you got to do. Keep them hands up and let's go right to him, Jack. Make them fight. Double that left hook up. Just double it up. He's turning that way. You got to double it up. Let him reach out, Eddie. Let's go. Here we go, baby. Open up.
Watch Toney in close.
Take your time.
He's been very, very clever. He's just 24 years old. Didn't start really boxing until he was out of high school. And he has a really good athlete's feel for what's going on in the ring. There's some kind of sensitivity to the movements of his opponent and what he can do that is the mark of what I would call a natural athlete.
Good point, Larry. Almost magical the way he can bob under Barkley's head, slide to the side, and then come up with the uppercut at just the right moment. Well, in all of these punch-stat numbers that you're going to see in the closing rounds, you are looking at a statistical mismatch.
Don't hold it.
We're looking at a mismatch in the fight right now. Although it could turn around, what we know of what has happened, it is a mismatch.
It's been all James Toney. But Barkley is hoping that in the war of attrition, things will begin to go his way later on.
Starting to agree with Larry now. Punches take things out of you, too.
Remember, I said at the start of the fight that the second half of the fight could be Barkley's unless Toney did some serious damage. And Barkley does look like he's slowing up a little bit here.
Toney, for the first time, jabbed to the body. And that's hard to see a young fella do when the fight gets in beyond 6th round.
You can see that Barkley's left eye is badly swollen. His vision probably compromised, but some would say, well, that vision was already badly compromised.
That Barkley's got one big left arm. That thing turns into a hook and catch you sleeping. You're going to wake up in your dressing room.
Punch and get out. Punch and get out.
Punch and get out, says Steele. He still hasn't warned Barkley for the low blows, and they are still coming with some frequency.
Barkley's from that school. It's not how you play the game, it's winning it counts.
Work inside and get out. Pull your arms back.
Sonny Liston said that.
That would be the old school, right?
Keep him up, keep him up.
Sonny, of course, was in some of the most distinguished schools of hard knocks, George. Back before he was your idol.
Walks away and turns his head like nothing has happened.
And then rains that right hand over the top. Over and under. Brilliant display of technique by James Toney.
Barkley's left eye is completely starting to shut up now. He's better go on out there and look for a knockout because that jab can really just shut him down.
Well, for 7 rounds, it has unquestionably been James Toney's most impressive performance. And all the talk about how different he'd be at 168 pounds seems to be fulfilled with his performance here tonight.
Punching it out. Punching it out.
Now for the first time, Barkley is hanging on and holding. He's not throwing shots.
Oh, Iran Barkley has slowed down, but he's still taking those uppercuts inside.
You know that if you beat even on a rock often enough, the rock is going to start to chip and break.
I've heard that said.
Harold Letterman, how do you have it through the 7th round?
Larry, 69-64, 6 rounds to 1 favor James Toney. I think James Toney's mugging him. I mean, he's beating him up. The only round I gave to Iran Barkley was round 6, when I thought James Toney sort of dogged it for 2.5 minutes, and Iran sort of took over, you know, most of the round. But that's it. It's all Toney.
I've got a shutout for Toney so
That's
far.
all you got to do. All right? Wake up now. Wake up in there. Come on.
It's turning out that for Toney, Barkley is the ideal bull. That he can exhibit his skills and his poise, all of his abilities.
Well, logic told you that a skilled counterpuncher like Toney might well feast on somebody who would come to him. And
Barkley is by no means out of this picture yet.
Okay, we'll watch that, George. 7 rounds down, 5 rounds to go. Toney landed 72% of his punches in round number 7.
Punching it out there.
Barkley is starting now when he goes forward to hold a little bit because those uppercuts are starting to hurt. He should have been doing that earlier. When you bump, hold, make sure the guy doesn't hit you.
It's getting harder and harder to figure, George, what Barkley would do to turn it around. He's not even throwing the left hook with that much frequency now.
Time. Go to Toney. Come on. Come on, you guys. Come on.
Steele trying to hurry things up as he brings Barkley to the corner. And once again, Iran must have his glove taped.
All the way around.
Yesterday, we saw
up and down,
James Toney in his room playing a computer boxing game with a friend. He was losing that game, and that's the only thing he's lost in boxing this weekend so far.
Do we begin to sneak a peek ahead to what it would be like to have James Toney in the ring with Roy Jones at 168 pounds?
Not yet. We've got a few more rounds to go.
George, hang in there.
If only we could tell Barkley to just hang in there. Barkley's starting to jab now. This should have been a weapon for him early on.
Oh, what a brilliant display of accurate power punching by James Toney.
No holding.
What Toney is doing, you seldom see from a young fighter. This is something you see good veterans like a late Muhammad Ali who just jab right hand.
And he's an awfully experienced young fighter, George. 8 championship fights in the last 21 months. And he is showing all the benefits of the lessons he's learned against tough opponents.
He's got an opponent just fits him right down to the teeth.
Keep him up. Keep him up. Don't hold him.
Barkley goes back to whacking away at the liver while clinching James Toney. Toney takes one of his periodic rests.
Don't hold it.
The thing Barkley didn't look at with Toney that he did maybe with Tommy Hearns. Toney's got big legs. He doesn't have real skinny legs. So these guys, you just can't hit them with one shot and drop them like you would Tommy Hearns.
And when he fought Tommy Hearns, Hearns wasn't 24 years old as James Toney is.
Sometimes the 24 years old can work a lot against you, too.
Come on, come on, come on. Let's go.
Not tonight.
Not tonight?
No, not tonight, George. Tonight it looks real good on James Toney. And the 32 don't look as good on Barkley. Left hooks from Toney. Barkley is stunned again. And Iran just can't defend himself against that crisp hand speed and punching inside.
The referee is being real generous not to give him a standing 8 count, but there is no standing 8 count tonight.
Plus the generosity. Another great round for Toney. Another session of target practice with spectacular punch stat statistics, no doubt yet to come.
Doctor!
Go and learn to do this thing. Take it into school. All right, baby. Okay, I need more pressure.
Talk to me too,
I'm all right, Doc. I can see the
He can see you, Doc.
He can see you, Doc.
I need more pressure. Talk to me, baby. Okay, baby. Okay, I need more pressure. Give me all you got, Iran. Give me all you got.
Let me see the eye 1 minute.
Let him see the eye. Let him see the eye.
Are you able to see all right out of it?
No.
You're not seeing double out
No, no. I need more. I need a lot of pressure this round, Iran. Jump on him. Make him fight, baby. Make him fight. Give me all you got. Give me all you got. Come on, champ. I need more pressure.
No more water on that head. I'm going in the eye now.
I need you to sit down and punch, Iran. All right, let's go, baby. Let's show him what we made of. Let's take a drink. Take a drink. Let's go.
Through this point in the fight, I think it's safe to say that James Toney has won the super middleweight championship. It is now his to lose and Barkley's to win back.
Not only that, the doctors are really taking notice to that left eye. They don't like what they see, the ringside doctors. And he's giving the referee some instruction not to let him take too much abuse on that left eye.
Don't let the graphic fool you. This is the 9th round, not the 8th. And you heard Eddie Mustafa Muhammad, Barkley's trainer, asking for what would amount to one last stand.
Come on, don't hold him. Punch and get out of there. Great. Step back, step back.
Barkley's got a lot of heart. A little more heart than anything else at this point.
Maybe more heart than was good for him at the beginning of the evening.
There's that same left hook that dropped Tommy Hearns. It comes out every now and then, and a good right hand by Barkley.
Iran sticking his chin in, taking punishment, and trying to find a chance to land a haymaker.
This is what you've got to do at this point. You just can't play it safe. You're going to have to take some risk.
And now Toney is able to jab with impunity because Barkley can't even see it coming.
Punch to get out. Punch to get out.
So James, if he wants to, can just flick the jab, pile up points, and continue to annoy Iran as Iran tries to mount the straightforward headlong rushes that he needs to create pressure.
Good left jab. That's the kind of left jab I was talking about a middleweight needs. Toney's got an excellent left jab. Nobody knew about that.
Barkley flashed the left hook for a second, but missed it. Toney continues to whack away at close range.
Toney has got a lot more power at this weight.
Well, this is going to greatly improve James Toney's reputation among ringside experts, because tonight he has been everything that he always claimed he could be, but seemed to fall short of being.
That same left hook just misses.
Yeah, he's missed it twice here.
This round.
Yeah, that's what I meant in this round. He's missed it a bunch on the course.
All it takes is one left hook, and believe me, we can start talking a different language by Iran Barkley.
I know, George. I know you're trying to protect my reputation.
Punch to get out of there. Punch to get out.
Last 10 seconds of round number 9. Iran Barkley's blood dripping onto James Toney's back.
He's out on his feet at this point.
Yeah, he's in trouble. Toney continues target practice through 9 rounds.
I said at the start, Jim, I said at the start of this fight that Toney was favored, but that all the experts I talked to like Barkley. I must have been talking to the wrong people.
The fight is over. The doctors have decided he can take no more.
Stop, the fight is over. The fight is over.
Eddie Mustafa Muhammad, once a very good light heavyweight champion, stopped the fight. He didn't want to see Iran Barkley take any more punishment.
Good for Eddie.
Good fight, good fight, good fight.
Really good for Eddie. A compassionate decision by Barkley's trainer.
Turned out to be a good friend.
Iran Barkley made $1 million tonight, probably his largest payday. I'm glad of it. He'll go on fighting if we know him. But it's questionable whether he can compete against good young fighters again with that style.
He's a great champion. That's all. That's all. And much success. You're going to do what you got to do. There you go.
In terms of real championship level contention, Iran Barkley may well have met the end of the road tonight. And you saw there the respectful hug between Toney and the man who in effect stopped the bout, Eddie Mustafa Muhammad, the former Eddie Gregory, trainer to Iran Barkley. Everybody comes up classy in the end.
I can't let you go out like that.
Well, there's nobody who has more respect for a fighter than his opponent when he's been in that kind
Take your time, relax.
of a tough foxhole warfare, George.
This guy went out and got in the best shape he could possibly get in. And you got to compliment some trainer somewhere.
The difference tonight, superior hand speed, superior counter-punching, superior boxing technique by James Toney.
That's what happened.
We'll take a look at the devastating final punch stat numbers, which will help to under-caption what you saw in the ring, a total mismatch. James Toney landing more than twice as many punches, in fact, almost 3 times as many punches as Iran Barkley, tripling Barkley's connect percentage, and wow, when you see a guy land 65% of his punches over the course of the bout, you have seen him with what turned out to be a tactically easy assignment. Right now, let's go up to ring announcer Michael Buffer for the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Richard Steele, acting on the advice of chief physician at ringside, Dr. Flip Omansky, calls a halt to the bout at the end of the 9th round. The winner by TKO victory, and now the undefeated IBF super middleweight champion of the world, James Lights Out